I think the same way with open core, right? It's always about segmenting the different audiences. Some are just going to be like free forever. They're sort of like, nope, we're open source hardcore. Like we'd rather fork your project and add the spit and glue and get all the features we need. And like, we never need to talk to you, but thank you very much. And we're fine with that, right? And then, and we're totally fine with that. There's wonderful customers out there that we spend time with that actually contribute back and are really great parts of the community, and they'll still have a certain take. But a lot of our what we call the ICP, the ideal customer profile, is going to be these enterprises who have these strict regulatory requirements, but still want to be productive. They want to reduce risk. They want to have control of their collaboration. They want to make everyone more efficient. And in that frame, they're always going to buy, right? Now, it's a question of when they're going to buy, but they're always going to buy as they scale. Because it's just their model. It's how they consume software. So in those spaces, it turns out to be, it's almost like the take a traditional sales cycle, but like kind of move it to the POC, and it's kind of around that stage. And you want to, and it's going to be very different in our sort of like federal business versus our commercial business. It'll be very different for if it's so the variables are going to be, is it a large enterprise, or is it a small, medium business, or somewhere in between? Is it a public sector or private sector business? And that'll determine budget cycles. And then it'll also determine sort of use case and culture. So we tend to do the best where if the managers are technical, like we're in, right? If the managers know how to code, they're technical or ex-technical, like that's our sweet spot. So there's a lot of tech giants and wonderful companies out there that are in that sweet spot. There's another one which takes it a longer, but eventually gets there. It's organizations where the developers really like us, but the managers aren't technical and they don't understand why you need something like Mattermost when you have like, oh, there's Microsoft Teams, right? Like I can send emojis there. It's like I can send an Office document, and they're like, why
What
can't
else do you need?
Yeah, it's like, oh, this works for me. Like, what's the difference? And then developers get frustrated, and all these. Is all this stuff ensues, and we might get run, and we actually do get run as shadow IT there much longer in those organizations. So that's the kind of segmentation. There's sort of a sweet spot or ideal customer profile, and that adoption curve, and those sort of the adoption curve and those characteristics are pretty consistent. And then there's going to be the outliers on both sides, like the free forevers, and then the sort of like little bit less like the more heterogeneous organizations.